Opioid abuse ravages the state. Oklahoma education gets millions of federal dollars, but not for public schools. And another cabinet member gets the boot from President Trump. This is OU Nightly. The opioid crisis in Oklahoma continues.
Oklahoma is the 5th most medicated state. Prescription painkillers are involved in 9 out of 10 deaths from prescription drugs.
To combat the widespread opioid crisis facing the state, the Oklahoma Senate voted to form the Oklahoma Commission on Opioid Abuse in May. The commission met today to discuss ways to curb the growing opioid crisis in Oklahoma. Attorney General Mike Hunter says too many Oklahomans are affected by opioid abuse.
Well, an average of 2 people die every day from opioid overdoses. That computes to, quick math, somewhere in excess of 800 Oklahomans a year. That's just unacceptable. So the goal is to get to 0.
The commission will continue to hear from law enforcement officials on ways to prevent opioid deaths in Oklahoma.
An OU research team has been awarded $10.5 million. The 5 researchers from College of Arts and Sciences will get the federal research grant over the next 5 years. Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry Dr. Ann West leads the team that studies cell proteins. The group aims to understand those proteins better in order to understand how diseases and conditions work in the body. Their research could help discover treatments for cures for diseases such as cancer and chronic bacterial infections. And it's a beautiful day after a couple days of rain. Erica, what do you have for us?
That's right. Current conditions are very nice outside. As we can see, 78 in both Oklahoma City and Norman. But if we take a look towards our eastern part of the state, these temperatures are up in the upper 80s. And then if we take a look at Guyman, those temperatures are around 62 degrees. So these temperatures are very variable in these moments. And then for radar and satellite, we do have some lingering clouds towards our south. But in main weather, I will talk about a nice weekend ahead. We are expecting a slight warm-up and the possible chance of rain next week.
Thank you, Erica. The Oklahoma Department of Education is set to get $16.5 million in federal money, but not for public schools. The Federal Department of Education awarded grants to open and expand charter schools. 9 U.S. states have received the grant, including Oklahoma. Private charter schools offer an alternative to traditional schools.
Still ahead on OU Nightly, one of Time Magazine's 30 people under 30 visits OU.
And plus, Katelyn Howard is in NewsCenter with the latest on resignation of Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price. Stay with us.
Alton Nolan has been found guilty of the gruesome workplace murder and more. The prosecution argued Nolan was aware and knew the crime he was committing. Nolan's defense attorneys say their client is not guilty by reason of insanity. Nolan now faces the possibility of the death sentence. Jury instructions and deliberations will likely continue on Monday. Katelyn Howard has more in the NewsCenter. Katelyn?
Thanks, Nicole. Within the last hour, Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price resigned. Price has been under fire after using private jets instead of commercial flights to travel around the U.S. He took as many as 26 private flights, which is estimated to cost taxpayers over $1 million. The president was also unhappy with his top health official not being able to bring about the defeat of Obamacare. This is the 7th resignation or firing of an administration insider since President Donald Trump took office. The U.S. State Department today announced it's pulling all families of employees and non-essential personnel out of Cuba, following mysterious attacks against U.S. diplomats. The U.S. Embassy in Havana will lose around 60% of its U.S. staff after 21 diplomats and family members became ill due to apparent sonic attacks. The State Department is issuing a travel warning urging Americans to not visit Cuba. Today, President Trump defended his administration's ongoing relief efforts in Puerto Rico, 10 days after Hurricane Maria hit the island.
We will not rest, however, until the people of Puerto Rico are safe. These are great people. We want them to be safe and sound and secure, and we will be there every day until that happens.
Puerto Rico is currently under a flash flood warning as millions are without power and water. And Nicole, as of now, at least 16 people have died on the island as a result of the storm.
Thank you for the update, Katelyn. And the 25-year-old co-founder of the Malala Fund, Shiza Shaheed, told an OU audience that young people can play an important role in improving their communities. Shaheed spoke yesterday at a program sponsored by the Delta Gamma fraternity. She focused on values, ethics, and success.
I think lectureship is important because it provides an opportunity for the community to gather and really have thought-provoking discussion. I chose Shiza because she was young, she had accomplished so much.
I got to come to the U.S. on a full scholarship and study at Stanford. I got to work around the world at a leading consulting firm. I got to start a global nonprofit. And now I get to invest in people who change the world.
And she was ready and willing to share with other young, almost ready to work people about how she used her life to do good.
Nothing about my origins, where I was born, or who my parents are could have indicated that I would have these opportunities. And I feel grateful, and I feel like I have to make something of it and try and make the world a little bit better as a result of the opportunities I've been given.
Time magazine listed Shaheed among its annual list of 30 people under 30 who are changing the world. She is still involved with the Malala Fund, but her primary focus now is investing in small businesses.
And Oklahoma City is under direction of a brand new fire chief. Richard A. Kelly, who currently works as the Deputy Chief of Operations, is taking over the open position. After 26 years of service as an Oklahoma City firefighter, Kelly will now oversee 990 positions within the department. Still ahead on OU Nightly, Beyonce lends her voice to hurricane relief.
And Erica gives us a look at weather.
Current conditions outside are very pleasant, but is there rain on the way? I will have more after the break. Are very pleasant, as you can see the statue outside of Gaylord College, and temperatures as well are very, very nice. 78 currently over Norman, winds about very calm from the south, from the north around 6 miles per hour, and dew points are also very pleasant that we're seeing right now, so a very, very pleasant day. If we take a look towards our south, we can see that rain is lingering with those clouds, associated with those clouds, but this is not expected to affect us in the next coming hours or days, so that is the good news over Norman. Now for the forecast, as I mentioned, that rain is going to return over our area. This high pressure system is going to keep rain off our area, so skies will stay mostly clear over Norman in the next coming days. Those rain showers are affecting parts of Texas currently, and then as of next week, like I mentioned, those rain conditions will come back towards our area due to a front that's going to cause this rain over Norman around Tuesday in the morning. So if you're heading to class, make sure you have that umbrella and rain boots handy because it will be rainy morning. And then those conditions are going to improve a little for the afternoon hours, but then that rain returns Wednesday afternoon with about a 40% chance over our area. So this rain is going to stay at least for a couple of days in Norman over the next few days or in the next coming week for Norman. But now these conditions are going to start to improve after this rain on Wednesday, and then sunny skies will return over our area. Now for the lows tonight are a little chilly with lows around the 50s, 56 in Norman, 57 in Oklahoma City, even 54 around the Guyman area. And then the highs tomorrow, another pleasant day, temperatures around the 70s, 77 in Norman and in the eastern part of the state with 80s for their part of the state. Now for the next 2 days, we can expect those nice temperatures. Like I said, temperatures around the 70s, 80s, and then as of next week, that instability will come over our state around 80s. The temperatures will start to increase on Monday, 83 as the high, 80, then a slight change in temperatures with 80 as the high on Tuesday, a 20% chance of rain in the morning, and then Wednesday is the highest percentage for rain with a 40% chance, and then those conditions will start to improve for the next weekend in Norman.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a nice break from the rain, but
Oh,
I know
yeah, definitely.
it's coming again. Thank you, Erica. Beyonce is rallying all her gente in support of hurricane relief. Thursday, she unveiled her song and the remix of Mi Gente, originally sung by J Balvin and Willie Williams. All proceeds will help residents in Puerto Rico and Mexico and other areas affected by Hurricane Maria. Which I think is just a really cool way for celebrities to help out, you know? It's just
exactly, just kind of giving back to the community, especially if she has some fans that might have been affected.
Awesome.
It's kind of nice for them to see.
It really is. And that's it for news this Friday night, but don't leave just yet. Big Friday Sports is on deck.
Our sports team gives you an extended look at what's happening in sports. Madelyn is here with more.
Thanks, guys. Today on Big Friday Sports, OU is on their bye week and the players are excited. Plus, Russell Westbrook is staying put here in OKC. Big Friday Sports is next.
Welcome to Big Friday Sports. I'm Madelyn Roberts.
And I'm Kyle Payne. We start you off with some huge news. Oklahoma City Thunder guard Russell Westbrook finally signed his extension with the Thunder.
That's right, Kyle. Russell Westbrook signed a 5-year contract extension worth $205 million. The deal kicks in at the start of the 2018-2019 season, making the extension the largest in NBA history, worth about $233 million over 6 seasons. This comes just days after Thunder general manager Sam Presti traded Enes Kanter and Doug McDermott to the New York Knicks for 10-time All-Star Carmelo Anthony. In a statement, Westbrook said, "There's no place I would rather be than Oklahoma City."
Now, OU has an off weekend after the tough game in Waco last Saturday, and the team is excited for some much-needed rest and relaxation.
This bye week is at a good time for. It's kind of the midpoint now with camp being so long. It's really kind of the midpoint of the season, really. So this came at a perfect time for us.
I'm going home for the weekend and see my family. It's my mom's birthday on Sunday, so I'm going out to see her, and then I'll be back here to get back to work.
Last night, the Texas Longhorns took on Iowa State to open up Big 12 play. Texas impressed on the defensive side of the ball, only allowing Iowa State to gain 250 yards all game and forced 3 interceptions from Cyclone QB Jacob Park. On offense, Texas controlled the tempo, rushing 52 times for 141 yards, leading to the 17-7 win. Iowa State comes to Norman next weekend, and Texas will take on Kansas State.
Now, aside from last night, it was a pretty slow week for the Big 12 teams with 4 on byes. Baylor will travel to Manhattan to take on Kansas State, and Oklahoma State will head down to Lubbock to battle against Texas Tech. Lubbock will be rocking tomorrow night.
Outside of the Big 12, there are other big games happening this weekend. Tonight, 2 undefeateds, the USC Trojans and the Washington State Cougars, go head-to-head at 9:30. Tomorrow night, the Mississippi State Bulldogs take on the Auburn Tigers at 5. And then the number 2 ranked Clemson Tigers take on in-state rivals, the Virginia Hokies, at 7.
Now, with volleyball season in full swing, OU Nightly Spencer Roy shows us that one member of the team is taking student-athlete to new heights.
Engineering major and D1 athlete, this is Aaron Dibble.
So I wake up every morning around 7:30 and I get up and I come to practice. I practice until about 10:30, class 11:30, tutoring until 2, and then I have a little hour break, and then I have class again at 3 until 4:20, and then I get to go home and study and do it all over again.
Not many people could handle a plate this full. Aaron spends long hours in the gym and long hours hitting the books 7 days a week. But why?
I just always wanted to play volleyball in college. That was always my goal, playing volleyball, was to get a college scholarship. And then once I got here, I got really interested in chemistry and biology and all that stuff. And from there, I just started researching my major and figured out that I wanted to do chemical engineering. And I knew it was going to be hard, but I feel like I can do it.
While studying or in the classroom, Erin is able to rely on life skills she has learned while playing the game of volleyball, and they seem to be coming in handy.
Even though it doesn't sound like volleyball would give you connections into the chemical engineering world, it has. I just recently won the Women of Color STEM Student Athlete Award, which is really cool. I definitely got a lot of the passion and hard work from my dad. He played football growing up, and he has really just taught me like balance, and also that if I'm not having fun, not to do it. And at the moment, I'm having fun doing both, so I'm going to keep it up as long as possible.
Whether it be in the classroom or on the volleyball court, as you can see, Erin does not shy away from hard work. Good luck to the Sooners volleyball team on the rest of their season. Spencer Royce, OU Nightly.
The volleyball team is in action tomorrow, finishing up their long road trip. They take on the Baylor Bears down in Waco.
Still to come on Big Friday Sports, a few college journalists here at OU talk about what's going on in the NFL.
And we'll recap last Thursday night football game. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Kyle, you ready to talk more football?
I am always ready to talk more football, Madelyn. Thursday night football and the color rush uniforms were back in action last night when the Chicago Bears headed up to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers started the game hot, finding Devontae Adams for a short touchdown early. The Bears came out slow, and Mike Glennon's fumble put the Packers in great field position to take the lead to 14 just 6 minutes in. The Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson show got hot. Rodgers finds Jordy for a 60-yard bomb before being pushed out at the 1. Nelson scored on the next play, one of his 2 touchdowns on the night. The 45-minute rain delay didn't slow the Packers down one bit as they roll the Bears 35-14.
This week, what is happening between the lines of NFL games is taking a backseat to what happens during the national anthems. Collin Kennedy and a pair of OU sports journalists join us from the Gaylord College Library to break it down for us. Collin?
Thanks, guys. Right now, the major storyline in the National Football League is not what's happening within the games, but rather before, as players are kneeling for the national anthem and responding to what President Trump said in a rally, calling them, quote, SOBs, and asking for them to be fired. Guys, your reaction to this massive reaction in the league?
Well, it started with Colin Kaepernick when he kneeled as a 49er and has boiled over into people protesting at NFL headquarters when he has not found a job now, and it has become a political thing with the president getting involved. At one level, it's good for their cause that it's getting media attention, but at the same time, it's kind of detracted from the real values that are really need to be discussed in this issue and just been about whether or not people are going to stand or whether they're going to lock arms. Or it's more about what they're doing than why they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm a little torn about this issue because, like we said, it started with Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers taking a knee for racial injustice. And there were people who sided with him, but a lot of the NFL didn't. You saw Jerry Jones say that anyone who kneels during the national anthem will be cut from the team. And now President Trump said something, and all of a sudden the NFL's a brotherhood, and you see owners that you've never seen before that are locking arms with players and taking knees during the national anthem. And I'm a little torn because I feel like Colin Kaepernick's message has been lost in the shuffle.
Right, but at some point there has to be a discussion and there has to be a solution brought up. So what should happen next? What sort of solution are we looking for now?
Well, you'll see a lot of different things, I think, this Sunday. The Broncos players have announced that they will all be standing for the national anthem when 32 of them were kneeling. I think the NFL really needs to go in a direction that the Cowboys took, where they weren't disrespecting the national anthem, but they still got their message across. I think the biggest problem that a lot of people have is that they don't want to people feel that they've disrespected the military, disrespected the people who have fought for our freedoms. And I don't think that's the intention of this at all. So I think going forward, they need to stand in solidarity together, but at the same time not disrespecting our military.
Yeah, like you said, I agree. I think that of all the 32 teams in the NFL, the Cowboys were the only one who did it right and who were all standing during the anthem and who kneeled before. But I'm interested to see where it goes with other sports. Right now, the only 2 big sports that are playing right now are football and baseball. Basketball season, I know there's a rule that says they're required to stand, but it'll be interesting to see if they lock arms, raise their fists maybe, and in the NHL as well, and just to see how it moves forward with baseball. It's all going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
I agree, and the eyes of the nation are certainly going to be on this storyline because there's no end in sight, but for right now, that's all we have. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, guys. So, Kyle, what do you think about all this?
I think it's a pretty touchy subject for the NFL. It kind of takes away from the game of football, but these players obviously want to bring attention to the president's remarks, and them finding a way to do it while unifying as a team is something I can get on board with, but I think the teams need to find a way to not disrespect the military while they do it, because I think that's been one of the bigger issues.
Yeah, I liked what Sam said when he said that he thought the Cowboys were the team that did it right, because they did the same thing. They unified. They weren't, some of them standing, some of them kneeling. And I definitely think that's what we'll see going forward. Like they said, the Broncos have all elected to do the same thing, and I think that's a good thing that they're all going to be unified and just do the same thing.
Yeah, and last night the Packers and the Bears, they all stood for the anthem, but they were arms locked, and it's nice to see the owners and everyone get involved just for the team. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for watching Big Friday Sports from the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We leave you tonight with last week's Baylor highlights. Good night.
Wide open down. It's Adams up the middle. Abdul Adams, watch out! Abdul Adams trying to go 99.